Hello everyone, and welcome back to another My Time at Portia guide. Someone recently posted a question on one of my streams asking for a guide discussing the combat in Portia. They said they were struggling with it, so that's what we're going to do today. Now, this is my demo profile. You can see it's year 1, day 3, and these are my stats. And I bring this up because stats are important for combat. They're one of the probably the two biggest aspects. Your personal skill is the other. So you gain experience and levels from just about everything you do in the game. Crafting things, kicking trees, picking up, wood and rocks on the ground. Everything that you do will give you small amounts of experience. Eventually you'll level up, and as you level up, your stats will increase. Not just your health, stamina, but your attack and defense as well. Endurance is useful for combat, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So, attack and defense are the two you're normally going to think about. Crit chance, melee crit chance, range crit chance. These are going to be from perks and gear. And we'll talk about gear in a little bit as well. But the base is here. This is what you're going to have. You can improve these a number of ways. We'll get into that in a little bit. But leveling is the main way you're going to improve stuff, especially early on. So, getting into the skill side of things is every weapon is going to have its own attack pattern. If all you've got is your bare fists like this, you're going to have this kind of combo thing. This is the same you're going to do during sparring. But as you find new weapons in the game, or craft them, you will have to get new ones. Now, your first weapon you can find right off the bat is going to be right here. It's a pair of worn gloves. These are not great. They give you a +5 to attack. But they also, if you equip them, have a 100% melee critical damage boost. So you can see right now, I'm not equipped with them. I have 19 attack, melee critical damage is 250. If I just switch over that way, now we have 24 attack and 350% crit chance, or crit damage. Still only a 5% crit chance. But, you see I have the meet and greet quest open? That's because, if we can catch up to Polly while he's running over here, he will give us 3 hardwood. Every single member on this shop owners thing will give you something that is related to them. Dr. Shu gives you some healing herbs, Polly gives you hardwood, and so on. We need that 3 hardwood to make our first training sword. Because until we get access to a proper axe, we can't chop down real trees. So, there we go. He gave us the hardwood. Now, we can make a practice sword, and it's going to be a huge improvement over this. But let's just take a look at the combat with what we have got right now. Every single creature has its own attack patterns. Now you can see there's ones like the colorful llamas that are not hostile until you attack them. And now he's rearing up and he's going to charge. Learn the attack patterns of your enemies. There's where the skill part comes in. And when you know an attack is coming, you can, if it's something really easy like this, that you can just walk out of the way. Great. But others, you may need to dodge roll. And you can see, even with my cheap, really terrible gloves, I'm killing these things that are higher level than me. Through a combination of skill and just taking time. Then you have something like Mr. Ladybug. This is a level 10 enemy. He's going to throw stuff at me. And so I can dodge roll, get some swings in. And if you can get a good stuff, you can see I can keep him off balance so that he can't attack me. And boom. I just killed an enemy 7 levels higher than me with the weakest weapon in the game. So skill definitely helps. It's learn, the enemy's patterns. But attributes absolutely help. So how do we improve them? Well, we've already shown that, weapons do. And if I come in here with a practice sword, I can make this practice sword. Now, That's an attack plus 18. I'm only getting plus 5 from those gloves right now. Let me craft that practice sword. Boom. Well, now I have enhanced practice sword. I just gotta get some tree sap. That's easy enough to find. And animal bones, which you have to kill certain monsters around the world for. And then you can get that up to a 30 from 18. So you're getting, right here, we're getting a plus 13 boost from our gloves. This will give us a plus 12 boost above that. And then if we upgrade it again with spines from the urchins around the lake along with resin, we'll add a 50% crit chance. So you can very quickly see that these are going to go up very fast in improving your gear. But also, as you play through the game, you'll also unlock different types of armor. Now, I'm a DLC. I'm a Kickstarter. I've got DLC, so you can see, here's some stuff. I've got a hat that is plus 90 to max hit points. I've got these that give plus 20 to defense each. These are huge boosts. I just went from, 10, what was it, 10 defense to 50 defense with just those two items. So it is absolutely good to get your gear. Another way to increase your stats is to decorate your house and your workshop. If you come over here and you look at the home panel, you'll notice you have these stats here for health, stamina, attack, and defense. You can see I'm getting 20 out of 50 stamina. That's because my builder's license that I have displayed is giving me plus 20 max to my stamina. Throughout the course of the game, as you dig through the various ruins, you find things in chests, you build things, you restore relics, etc., you'll find things that give boosts to all of these stats. Now, this is the very first starter home. I can only get plus 30 points at most from attack and defense from things in the house. But as you improve the house and upgrade it, this'll, go up by these same amounts. 100 health, 50 stamina, 30 attack, 30 defense for every house level you have. So if I come at this with a level 3 house, I could boost it by 90 attack, 90 defense, and so on. Now, another way to boost your stats is through permanent buff items. They are food items that you can get. The most common way is through festivals or doing really well on the monthly ranking board. So if we come in here to the Commerce Guild and we take a look at the rankings board, you can see what the prizes are for first, second, third place. First place this time is Ocean's Fortune. It'll be different every season, but it'll always be something similar to this, which will give a +1 to one of your stats, a permanent +1 to attack, defense, hit points, so on. Later on, when you have Ack and you've gotten to the point that he can cook for you, when you've built your relationship up, check the relationship guide on that. One of his recipes that you can get a chip for was also a permanent boost. So there are ways to give permanent boosts as well. That said, it's going to come down to skill, weapons, gear, and so on. So let's switch to a later in the game playthrough and demonstrate what some of this is going to look like in action. Alright, so now we're back over here on my stream playthrough for Sleep, and you can see I've got some more improvements I can make. The practice swords. If I had an upgrade kit, I could then turn that into a bronze sword instead of doing these, which is a further plus 15 attack on those. Or, because of where I'm at, I can go straight for the iron sword, which is a 90 attack. And yes, it's going to take iron bars, animal bones. We'll make one of those. And if I had animal skeletons, which I don't have enough of, I could enhance this to a 105 attack, and so on. So there's definitely things you can do. You can upgrade your weapons, you can build things, and so on. Maybe triple barrel snakebite is another weapon you can get, which is a ranged attack. There's one of two guns in the game. You have poison knuckles you can make. So there's different weapon types. There's the gloves, your fists, your swords. There's a couple hammers, and there are guns. find the one that works best for you, but also keep in mind the stats for where you're at in the game. You know, if I had a knuckle, which I don't have, the ingredient, the recipe for, I have to go buy one. I can make poison knuckles here. I also don't have poison fangs. But that's better, than, say, my iron sword. Now, on our playthrough, we've already beaten the Hazardous Ruins, so we have the Lion's Claws. But I'm not going to use that just yet. Instead, I'm going to advance it a day, and we're going to use the Triple Barrel Snakebite with us. As we go in, I'm going to make some of those real quick. Alright, so we are back. I have the ammo for this to demonstrate the Snakebite in use. But the most next important thing you're going to need are your stamina regeneration stuff. I recommend the dried apple slices. There are better foods for more stamina percentage, but the dried apple slices you can see are 10% of your health, your max stamina, and they are really easy to make. You can get apples, and especially aroma apples, just from kicking trees. And it takes time, but, dried apple slices, if you use aroma apples, you get 5 per thing, and you can make, 10 in a batch, so... Now this is going to take 16 days and 16 hours. But I'm not always going to be in combat, so I can have these going all the time. And there's other food items that you can make for health. You're early on, you're going to have jerky or the smoked meat. Herbs you're going to be able to find everywhere, and that's going to be one of the things Dr. Shu is going to give you. You can go and buy and eventually learn how to make things like first aid kits, simple ointments, and simple antidotes for removing poison. This is going to be one of the bigger things early on, especially in the first Hazardous Ruins, because a lot of enemies do poison damage. So in fact, we will replace that with my fertilizer in there. But as you get a cooking pot, or you get bonuses from taking part in festivals and all that, you'll get other health restoration stuff, as well as buff restorations. So hey, if you're struggling, you're taking a lot of damage, get some smoked fish rolls. Or you need, there's the ones that give attack boosts. Here's juice, you can get that really easy. You can see rather cheap as well. It's a plus 10, lasts 180 seconds, so maybe you haven't gotten lucky enough to get the plus 35 here. That's fine. Go buy some juice. If you want attack, get some cheap soda, also from the round table, for 10. You can get these little boosts to your buffs. It's a temporary way, but again, just like gear, which is also temporary, quote-unquote, because it's only there when you have it equipped, you have ways to improve your stats. So let's go run the dungeon, and we'll talk about this stuff here, and we'll show how these all play out in action. So to demonstrate this, I'm going to go to Sewage Plant Level 4. Just because it's going to have a wider variety of enemies. Earlier levels only have one room per floor. And this will help us also demonstrate the boss fights and all that with gear. And this is the boss that will get you those big gloves, my 150, what are they called? The Lion's Claws. Once you beat him for the first time, you'll get those. So that's going to be a huge gear boost. This looks to be a mostly platforming floor. A little bit. And also the Hazardous Ruins, of course, you're going to take damage from that, so be careful with your platforming. Always bring, health stuff in here. Alright, supplier imps. You can run around, just don't attack them. Let them do their thing. You can see their attack pattern. He does that back and forth before he does the swing. So learn to pay attention to that. And jump out of the way. Now the bandit rat is a little harder to... especially when they gang up on you. So don't be afraid to roll away. And do attacks. If you get far enough away from an enemy, and then you attack, you'll go dashing at him if it's a melee attack. If you're using a gun, you can see, boom. I can keep my distance. And he's about to sort of throw his fireball. You can see his attacks. And so you can learn his. This guy here, he's gonna try and shoot me. And he poisoned me. So you gotta learn, okay, what's the timing on his? And I'm not very good at it, because I like to get melee on these guys and just smack them. As you can see, I'm taking poison damage. Simple antidote. Take some smoked meat. Heal up. This guy's going to be attacking like this. He wants to come down. He's not come down. Oh, there, good. He's down. I can... This is a melee. I just attack, and it charges right in on him. Now, he's got other attacks. You can see he's got the flamethrower kind of thing. So do not be afraid to dodge in, dodge out. Especially with bosses, you're going to need to learn their patterns. So, like, he's going to do this. Bounce, bounce, attack. So get out of the way and attack again. With the Banderat. You have your combos. And you can see he can do that same kind of charge attack you can. So you got to learn when to be aggressive, when to be a little bit more, play it safe. And you'll learn with every enemy. Multiple enemies have different types of attacks. Like these guys have that melee attack that they can smack you with. And so on. And it's just a matter of, okay, I know when you're going to attack, what your attack's going to be. How do I work around it? Be a little aggressive. And now, yeah, admittedly, this is not a weapon you're likely to have. Well, it's possible you can have this while still in here. Because you could build this as early as your second ruin, or your second abandoned ruins, once you have access to iron. We have not gotten access to the third abandoned ruins yet on this playthrough. So this isn't like I'm using endgame gear or anything like that. And that's just the first floor, you can see that. Now, I'll be back once I get to the boss, and we'll talk about his attack patterns. Alright, so we're back, we're at the boss, and I unfortunately didn't find any jump dancers on the way. I was hoping to catch one of them so I could demonstrate them as well, because they're probably one of the harder enemies to deal with. They're very aggressive, and they can stun lock you. So it's, again, learning their strategy, learning their patterns. And one of the best things you can do, and we'll show that with this boss here, is attack, 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 dodge, roll out of the way. So he's going to have a series of attack patterns based on where you are in relation to where he's at, and so on. He does not move from that spot unless you push him off of that spot. So he's going to attack different ways if you're up close, if you're further away, and so on. So let's take a look at further away. I'm not a big fan of a further away, but you can see he's going to start shooting me with these. If I let him hit me with it, he's just going to keep going at it like that. That's all he'll do. So if you've got a gun, you can absolutely do that. And that's the thing with the game is don't be afraid to take your time to learn attack patterns of enemies, especially bosses. In hazardous ruins like this, you have time. It's standing still. And you can see, I took quite a bit of hits from that, so you gotta learn to not let yourself get hit. So let's heal up, back up a little bit. Use my herbs as well. Now let's go into melee range. I can attack him, and he's gonna swing that, and then come slamming down. So you see him winding up, get out of the way, wait for it to come down, and then attack back in. Now he's gonna change his attack pattern again, once you get to about 50% health. So it's just a matter of patience, learning the patterns, knowing when to get out of the way of the attacks. It's the old get good meme. But now we're at 50%. He's going to try and shoot me there, and then he's going to do this spray like this. If I can avoid getting hit with that spray, I can do that. If I don't get hit by this, he's going to keep trying to shoot that to get me away from him. But he hit me that time, so now he's going to spray, and he can't hurt me while he's spraying while I'm in close like that. So sometimes it even helps to take a hit if you know their attack pattern allows it. Now, the first time you beat him, you will get these claws here. which you can see I've got a plus 90 there. These are plus 50. Now, they don't increase my crit damage bonus like this does, but, you know, and I have a 24% crit chance because I've got things like this and this on. But these are ways you can boost your crit chance. You know, I've got these defense boosts here, and you can see these are our stats. Well, this is what we've done with the stream. I'm level 42 as of the stream that just ended a little bit ago, right before recording this. And so I've got good stats now. So it really is just a matter of, you know, learn, take your time, get better gear, don't rush the combat aspects of the game. You know, you're probably not struggling with the llamas. You're probably struggling with things like uh, the little walking piranha guys, the jump dancers, or the bosses in here, or some of those other more aggressive enemies that you might find out in the wild. But again, if you take the time, build up your gear, build up your levels, learn the patterns of all the enemies, you won't have to worry quite so much. And we can demonstrate that again in action out in the wild. So let's go do that. We just unlocked the Eufaula Desert in our most recent stream. Let's go look at the enemies there. Alright, you can see I'm already just aggroed these just by walking up on these guys. But before we get into fighting them, and the whole horde, let's talk about one other thing I neglected to mention, and that is your fight abilities. When you level up, you get perk points, and you can use them in the fight tree. Now, this is going to cover some of the stuff I didn't touch on, including endurance. You can see I got a little 5-point boost from, I think it's over here. No, wrong one. Anyways, endurance is what you use when you do your dodge rolls, when you're sprinting, and so on. This is a separate kind of stamina meter from your actual stamina meter. So fighting is going to help a lot of benefits with those, but you can see you don't have a lot of it. You never need a lot of it. Recovery rate is more important, I would say, than increasing its amounts. But you can do things if you're struggling with, hey, I need a little bit more defense, I need better offense, you know, I need more health. You can use this whole tier, like especially if you're hot, really high level and you have the points to spare. I would definitely recommend getting this entire tier. Um, you know, you have things like defense posture here and aggressive stance. You could stack both of those as well, but if I'm going to lean one or the other, it's going to be defensive posture. They both work as for every 1% decrease in your health, you either decrease the damage taken or increase the damage you deal by a percentage, a portion of a percentage. You can see this is 0.2% attack for every 1% less in health. This is 0.1% defense or less damage taken for every 1% of health I've taken, etc. per point you spend. So this one I've got 3%. If I get the 4th level, I can get 4%. That may not seem like much, but to me, I find the defense, if I'm losing health, I want to stop taking as much health damage as possible, and that's another way to help counteract things. And of course, your boosts, you know, your buffs and so on. And your final, like, crit damage boosts down here and so on. So there's another way you can improve your combat through your perk points. Anyways, we have 3 enemies attacking me. What am I going to do? I'm going to dodge out of the way, attack in, dodge out of the way, attack in, dodge out of the way, attack in, which is how you're going to deal with the jump dancers a lot of the ways. Enemies that they can, you know, be aggressive, they can stun you. Dash in, dodge out. Dash in, dodge out. Dash in, dodge out. Doesn't work very well for every enemy. Like you saw, the Banda Rats can also dash in at you. Snake in a box. Oh, there's a level 45 enemy. And that's a good example of, you know, if you kill an enemy and then a higher level version spawns in. And this one you can see I'm not doing a lot of damage to him. But I am absolutely using those same strategies to avoid taking too much damage. Not letting him really hurt me. And you'll get better at it with practice, obviously. You know, early on you're not going to be good at it, so I recommend practicing it on the llamas and the other tame enemies that are out near your farm. But you can see these guys are aggressive. As long as I'm over here, they're going to keep spawning and attacking me. So, you see his preparation, he's going to attack. He's opening up the thing he wants to attack. Move out of the way. And you can see I can sometimes just keep him on a stun, just keep knocking him back as well. So sometimes being aggressive is the way to go. And that is going to cover it. Like I said, different weapons are going to have different combos. You can see this one doesn't have that kind of, spin kick that we had with the early ones, that if I'm barehanded, I'll take those off to demonstrate. The same combo, but even though I'm doing gloves. Our first pair of gloves followed this, but this one does not. Every single weapon is going to have a different attack pattern. Even like we saw the practice sword is that it's 2 slashes. This one's got a 4 attack pattern. So you can see every single weapon, even within the same type, is going to have a different attack pattern to it. Learn your attack pattern, learn the attack pattern of your enemies. Take your time. This is not a high-intensity combat game like something like Doom or Monster Hunter or any of those others that focus entirely on the action. Even something like Tales is much more focused on the action than this. This is more in-depth combat than, say, Stardew Valley, but it's still secondary to the simple life sim aspects of being a crafter, farming, and so on. And with that is going to be it for today. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button with your weapon of choice. Leave a like. Let me know in the comments section below. What is your favorite type of weapon in this game? What did you learn from this? What didn't you learn? I want to hear from you guys. And I'll catch you next time. See ya!